Welcome then to more of A Christmas Carol, the analysis of the entire book. We're going into Stave 2, the first of the three spirits. In case you're just picking up with us now, there are several different videos for all of section 1, and going through section 2 we'll be doing the same thing, looking at elements that you can analyse and discuss in essays. So Scrooge wakes up, and as the clock is chiming, what's probably interesting to note here is that obviously we've got the bell, striking rather funnily, so it gives us a kind of sense and anticipation that something out of the ordinary is going to happen. Obviously we know that anyway because Marley's come and told him that a ghost is coming, but you're still setting it up is a better way of taking the reader there than simply just, oh, and then a ghost turned up. Okay, so Scrooge obviously here doubts himself, which is quite interesting because obviously previously we've seen him just be completely full of himself in a way. You know, he doesn't actually kind of take other people's ideas on, doesn't think much of what they actually say. So goes through, he lies in bed and he's not sure exactly what's going to happen, and then he hears the bell, and he hears the bell ringing, and again it's just kind of building up, this whole thing's just building up a tension for when he's actually going to see the the ghost that's coming. Light flashed up in the room in an instant. The curtains of his bed were drawn. The curtains of his bed were drawn aside. I tell you by a hand. And that's really interesting here. The fact that he says, I tell you, again, it's Dickens taking that persona of being a comrade to the reader, you know, a friend to the reader. He's actually telling it directly. Again, trying to keep that tone that he's gone for at the start. Something easy, something that people can easily get on board with. And here we have the ghost, or the strange childlike, the strange figure, like a child, yet not so like a child. It's like an old man viewed through some supernatural medium. So obviously the idea here obviously could be hinting at the past, obviously the fact that it's childlike, or it's going to take Scrooge to his youth, etc, etc, etc. And obviously it looks really good, and it's got the it's got whiteness to it, and it's got tenderness to it, etc. So these words you can analyze just to show the kind of the purity, etc., that's going to come through with this ghost. Scrooge looked at it with increasing steadiness, for as the bell sparkled and glittered, now one part and the other, and what was light one instant another time was dark. So the figure itself fluctuated in its distinctness, being now a thing with one arm, now with one leg, now with 20 legs, etc. And this is kind of maybe Scrooge is just acclimatizing to that kind of view, acclimatizing to that kind of way of seeing things, getting ready for more of a spiritual journey, etc, etc, etc. And again, this is all about challenging his perceptions. The whole book is about challenging his perceptions and inviting him to change, and here he's finding that nothing is concrete in a way, and obviously his view of the spirit can be seen as something that he needs to, a kind of metaphor for the way he needs to kind of be adaptable and change. And obviously this fast changing creature in front of him is the perfect example of that. And then he tells him that I'm the ghost of Christmas past, and he says specifically it's your past, and obviously this confuses Scrooge a little bit. And the ghost said, why would you soon put out with worldly hands the light that I give, in reference to Scrooge wanting to put out the light, because again Scrooge maybe not used to all this kind of brightness in his life, and obviously this literal brightness. And he tells Scrooge that he's here to actually do something good for him. He's looking out and after his welfare. So the ghost invites him to go out with him, and then as they go off into they're going to go off into the night, Scrooge says, I'm immortal and I could fall out this window, and he says, well, if you just hold on to me it'll be fine. And obviously here Dickens is just giving us the parameters of the story, the way that physics in the story is working, so again we can just kind of follow it along as they go. The spirit gazed upon mindly, gentle in touch, though it had been light and instantaneous, appeared still present to the old man's sense of feeling. He was conscious of 1,000 odours floating in the air, each one connected with 1,000 thoughts and hopes and joys and cares long, long forgotten. So here the trip that they're taking through the sky could be representative of just a trip through Scrooge's memory, and obviously the way Scrooge is, he's probably repressed quite a lot of that. So all of this coming back to him now is coming back very hard, very strong, and the emphasis and the repetition here of long, long forgotten is it just emphasizes exactly how far away he's pulling these memories from. And he says, your lip is trembling, and what is that upon your cheek? So these memories obviously are having an effect on Scrooge. Obviously he's kind of worked up and worried, so his lip is trembling. And obviously, what's that upon your cheek? It could be yes, a tear going down the way. And Scrooge muttered that it was just a pimple, and he begged the ghost just to lead him where he would. And that's interesting that he says just to lead him where he would, in that we've got lead him where he would. Basically, he wants this to be over. Much as he said earlier to Marley, can I not have all three of them at once? He doesn't want to go through this. And that gives us some indication, actually, that what's to come might be quite negative for Scrooge. We might be seeing Scrooge in a different way. Obviously, Dickens is going to have to do that, make us feel some pathos for him, make us feel some sympathy for him, so we actually can kind of get behind his transformation, and that could be the start of it. And you notice here with a lot of the things that Scrooge and the Spirit saying to each other, Scrooge isn't actually saying all that much. A lot of times, just in the last couple of pieces, in the last couple of kind of exchanges that we've had, there are several in which the writer just tells us in the prose, not in the speech, that what Scrooge said. And the reason for this is obviously maybe just so we can pay more attention to his physical transformation, the physical descriptions of what's going on, rather than his actual words, or just so we can see it from a different point of view, which is part of the writer's craft, to get you feeling it through different ways, not just the speech. So that you recollect the way, remember it, I could walk it blindfolded, this place that they're actually landed in. So they walk along this road, and Scrooge recognised every gate, and now he's got all these memories that come to him. These are shadows of things that have been. They have no consciousness of us. So basically, you're looking at the past, and he's just telling him that we cannot be seen here. We cannot interact in any way. And that kind of just harks a little bit to what Marley was saying about. A little bit of what Marley was saying about not being able to get involved with life, and getting involved with life as a ghost, as part of his punishment. But here, Scrooge can't really get involved with his past. So the idea is that he's here to learn from it, and it tells us, something. It's telling us something at the same time about, regret and remorse in a way. We can't look to change what we've been or what we've done. We need to change the way we react to them. We need to change what we do in the situation that we are in. So the travellers come on, and they all seem really happy with each other, and why was he filled with gladness when he heard them give each other Merry Christmas? So again, the contradiction in Scrooge actually kind of kicks off a little bit here, just seeing them and seeing how friendly they were to each other, and as they say Merry Christmas to each other, makes him feel good. And then he's confused by this. He's like, well, why does this make me feel good? What good had Christmas ever done me? And maybe we're going to see something a little more of why now. And he says, well, the school is not deserted. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, is still there. Now, earlier we had him solitary as an oyster. Now we have him as a solitary child. So that idea of loneliness, we can see, and the fact the word solitary is used again, kind of gives us a reference point to earlier, that he was called solitary earlier, and now he's being called solitary again. So, as an adult, as a child, maybe what happened to him as a child has a big influence, obviously, on the way he turned up. And he's neglected by his friends. And obviously we see the way that these boys have left. Scrooge's reaction to them, obviously he feels a warmth for them, but maybe not them for him. And the boy is there, and Scrooge said he knew it, and he sobbed. And obviously that's a really short sentence to really drive it home. And we've seen him kind of quaking a little as he's come across. He had his trembling lip and a tear coming from his eye, and now all these memories that he's had, all these I think it was at the top of this one, all these at the previous page, all the thousands of memories that actually came across to him. Let's just get back there. All the thousands of memories that came across to him have all the thousands of memories that come across, there we go, it's not at the top, it was in the middle. All these memories that actually come back to him there, he obviously really striking him now, and it's become a little bit overwhelming.